everything is welcome until you hear otherwise.
Did you ever do something that was not approved by Sting?
Sure. I can only be myself, and I can only play like me. It's better to be me than like a bad Vinny, or you know what I mean?
Nice job, man.
Thanks, dude.
Such a great song.
Yeah, right?
Like that entire record is just perfect.
Yeah, tunes.
And, dude, welcome to Drumeo.
Thank you.
For any of you
Thank
who
you.
aren't familiar with Zach is the drummer for Sting. That is no small task. I was talking with Jared earlier, and every time a drummer comes out here, we always ask, either on our podcast or even just over lunch and stuff, we always ask, like, what would your ideal or your dream gig be? And I think there's like 10 or 15 people in the last year who have all said Sting.
Yeah.
So you're living the dream.
Yeah, man. Yeah, very lucky.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
And we're going to be talking all about that in this lesson. This is even called, What Does It Take to Play Drums with Sting? So we're going to talk about the journey to getting there, what you've done, the things you've learned, all that kind of stuff. But a little bit of background on Zach. You've been playing with Sting for a year and a half in a line of a pretty crazy like drum lineage coming through his band, which is really cool. You've done lots of sessions around New York and touring, and you also produce, and you have a band called Zach Jones and the Tricky Bits.
That's it.
Nice. And we're going to hear some of that later on.
Yeah, a little later, yeah.
Cool. And you've also played with some other groups, A Great Big World, Secret Someones, Elle King, Ingrid Michaelson.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a bunch more, but
yeah.
Nice. And lastly, we do this kind of stuff inside of Drumeo all the time. We bring in drummers just like Zach. We have lots of exclusive content in our members area. We have a full method to teach you how to play the drums, 5,000 songs with transcriptions and drumless tracks, and lots of other really cool stuff. A great community of drummers and teachers. So if you want to check that out, there's a link right down below in the description, drumeo.com/trial, and you can get a free 7-day trial and see everything that we're up to there. But let's get right into it, man. What does it take to play drums with Sting? We're going to jump into one other track and then kind of start at the beginning.
Yeah, cool.
A band called Secret Someones.
Yep.
You said is kind of like an entry point to that gig. So what's the backstory with this?
So that was a band that formed, it was me and 3 singer-songwriters in New York, Bess Rogers, Lilia Broussard, Hannah Winkler. We kind of, we started playing on each other's music, and then we decided to start a band and write songs together. And they wrote all the songs in that band, but we got signed to a label called Cherry Tree Records with that band. And the guy who runs Cherry Tree is named Martin Kierszenbaum. Now he manages Sting. So he and I just got to be pals, and we worked together, and he knew I was a big fan of Sting and the Police. And so he likes to get his artists working together. So yeah, when there was an opportunity to play with Sting, he kind of snuck me in and got me on a couple sessions and things. And that started a while ago. And then just in the last couple years, I've been doing the live gig. But I had done a handful of things with him before, promo stuff.
Nice.
Tonight Show. We did the NBA All-Star Game one year in Toronto. But yeah, Secret Someones was kind of the entry point to that world, meeting all those guys.
Nice.
Yeah.
So this track is called Surrender.
Yeah.
And yeah, let's hear this one and then we'll get into it.
Great.
You place the blame upon my shoulders. No rules in life.
That's a cool groove. Kind of
Thanks.
going around the toms, kind of like the offbeat feel.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's cool.
I ripped a little bit of that from John Blackwell. There's a
Oh,
Prince
yeah.
song that he does this like kind of, because he played open-handed, you know?
Yeah.
And he's going, which I just
cool.
love. And
Yeah.
I thought that, I just like that kind of rhythmic thing. So,
Yeah.
yeah, very inspired by him and Talking Heads and a bunch of other stuff with that group.
Yeah. I think there's another track. Did you ever get into Them Crooked Vultures?
Yeah, sure.
I think Elephants, I
Uh-huh.
think is the song. I'm sure someone out there will correct me or confirm.
Yeah.
But same kind of thing where Dave is playing like the open hi-hat thing with his left hand and
Yeah.
going around the toms.
Yeah,
It's
I
cool.
love that.
Okay, so you were working with that band.
Yep.
You were around some of the same people who were in the Sting camp.
Yeah.
You said you did some promo and stuff.
Yeah.
So what was that like preparing for that gig? So I guess for the first run of shows that you were doing.
Yeah, the first time I did a live gig, like a proper live full show, was when Josh Freese was still the main guy on the gig. And so I subbed in a show for him. So in my mind, when I did that show, the prep was mostly sub for Josh, you know,
Yeah.
take care of what needs to get taken care of. And I wasn't trying to put too much of my own stamp on it at that point. So I listened, I mean, I'm a fan of the music already, you know, I've listened to the records a lot.
Yeah.
So mostly I was watching live videos, like the most recent stuff I could find of Josh, because I wanted to understand what the band would be used to
Yeah.
and provide that. And then once I got offered the gig full time, then I felt a little more like I could, you know, offer my own stuff and get away from that script a little bit, you know?
And what does that look like when you bring your own stuff to the table in that group? Is that like, what is Sting like as a band leader or a boss? Where is it pretty open amongst the band where you can bring in your own voice and you can be creative, or does he want like a very rigid, this is the way I need it for the show?
He's, you know, it's very much like everything is welcome until you hear otherwise. You know what I mean?
Okay.
He'll let you know if something's not working for him. But for the most part, I feel like one of the great things about him as an artist and the bands that he's had in the past are that I feel like you always hear those personalities. When it's Vinny, you feel that it's Vinny and he's not trying to sound like Stewart or Omar Hakim or whatever. And everyone, I think, has that liberty, you know. And Josh really approached it like he would. And so I felt like, you know, I'll do the same and he'll let me know if he needs me to change something, you know.
Did you ever do something that was not approved by Sting?
Sure.
Do you have any examples? I want to know.
You know, one thing that he feels strongly about is Every Breath You Take. I don't play a single fill in that whole song.
Okay.
Because he wants it to feel really kind of hypnotic, and I think he wrote it with a Linn drum, the original demo that he did, and he likes that feel. So I just lay it down for that tune.
Yeah.
You know, and there's a couple like that, Fields of Gold, Shaping My Heart. There's a few songs where I don't really play any fills because it's a bit more kind of drum machine-y, you know. He just wants that quality,
Yeah.
you know, coasting.
Is the story with that song not that like Stewart was just playing the hi-hat by itself?
I think
something?
I heard something like that too.
Legend has it or something.
Yeah. There's definitely a couple fills on the record, you know, little accents and things, but live we keep it pretty straight, and I think it works really well for that song.
We're gonna get into the next tune.
Great.
This is one of your own by Zach Jones and the Tricky Bits.
That's it.
Plastic Soul.
Yeah.
What should we know about this song? What's the vibe? You're singing on this one too.
I'm gonna sing on this one. This is I made a record that I released last summer that's called Plastic Soul.
Yeah.
And my thing is just I've released a few. This was my first full length. I've released a few EPs and some singles and stuff, and I just love Tom Petty and the Byrds and kind of mid-'60s Beatles and so Big Star. So I love to make music that feels like that, chimey, power pop, rock kind of stuff.
Nice.
And it's me and a few of my best friends are the band and play on all the records. And my producing partner, Oscar Albus Rodriguez, who I also produce for other artists with, he and I produced this together. And So you'll hear him, and you'll hear my friend Brian Killeen on bass,
Yeah.
Hannah Winkler singing, and my friend Steven Salcedo on saxophone. And I'm singing, playing drums, playing some guitar, playing some piano.
Cool.
It's just my chance to do whatever I feel like, basically,
Yeah.
you know, when I do my thing. So
I love it, man. Let's hear it.
Okay.
Southern California, Akron, Ohio. No one wants your plastic soul. Don't matter where you go. On your long and lonely road to the middle. Yeah, it's a long and lonely road to the middle. Where you get this number? Where you get the nerve? One more minute of my time is more than you deserve. On your long and lonely road to the middle. Yeah, it's a long and lonely road to the middle. On your long and lonely road, long and lonely road, yeah, to the middle, to the middle. After California falls into the sea, will I be there for you? Don't look good to me. On your long and lonely road to the middle. Yeah, it's a long and lonely road to the middle. On your long and lonely road, long and lonely road, yeah, to the middle, to the middle, yeah, to the middle, yeah.
Yeah. It's so funny in the chat, like, there's a lot of drummers watching, of
Yeah.
course. They're like, how is he singing and playing drums at the same time? But I have noticed, like, even when you're singing, even when you're just playing
Yeah.
by itself, like, your posture is, like, solid, even when you're singing. And it's like, this is like a foundation that's, like, unmovable.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is that something that's, like, pretty important to you, something you spend time on, or?
For sure, yeah, and the more it's always been a thing in my mind, but especially the last couple years being on tour all the time, especially after not really touring for a long time because I hadn't been.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, you sleep on the bus or whatever, you wake up and you're back. You're in your mid-30s now, and your back isn't as happy as it used to be. And so
That's fair.
I think a lot about, setting up ergonomically and sitting with good posture and all that stuff. I do think it helps with the singing a lot too, because there's nothing, I mean, this is just a bummer for playing drums, but especially if you're trying to sing at the same time, you know,
Yeah. Great, man.
Yeah.
One thing I wanted to talk about, because
Yeah.
we were mentioning at the beginning, so many drummers have said the Sting gig is like the one to
Yeah.
have, or that they would dream of having. And for any of you out there who aren't familiar with the line of drummers who have played with Sting, to name a few, Vinny Colaiuta, Omar Hakim, Manu Katché, Stuart Copeland, Josh Freese. Zach Jones.
I will add Keith Carlock,
Keith Carlock.
Abe Laboriel Jr.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know.
It really is.
I don't know another artist who has had that kind of lineup with drummers. So
Yeah.
my main question to you is, coming from that lineage, like, what's the pressure like when you first realized you were going to be on that gig? Did you feel like you had to perform or live up to a certain level of the other legends who had been in the bands?
Yeah.
Or did you feel like you were just going to go in and bring your voice on the kit to the people?
Well, it's a bit of both, honestly. I mean, I'm glad that it's not a gig, and it's never been a gig where you have to play like someone else.
Yeah.
It's not a replicate the album kind of a gig. You know, Sting likes to find something new in the songs every day, and I think he lets each band be its own thing. You know, we just yesterday we were in Seattle, and Christian McBride came and hung out and sat in on bass with us. And you know, the Brand New Day era, they had that whole band with Christian and Manu and Chris Bodie, and I mean, amazing players. And that band has its sound, and the Ten Sumners band has its sound, and the Police has its sound. And
Yeah.
so I think, of course, I feel the pressure of, I love this music so much, and I know that he's used to playing with the best drummers on earth. So I want to bring my A game,
Yeah.
but I want to bring my A game, you know?
Yeah.
And I do, you know, I can only be myself, and I can only play like me. So,
Yeah.
you know, it's better to be me than like a bad Vinny, or, you know what I mean? So,
That's true.
So that's what I try to bring. I try to bring my sensibility, and there's a little bit of all those guys in the way that I play it, for sure.
Yeah.
Particularly because the songs we play, it's a lot of stuff that Vinny was on, and Stuart and Manu mostly. Those
Yeah.
three guys, I would say, in the live set right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, I sneak in some Stuart licks for sure. You know, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's, you know, it is. I am trying to bring something unique to it, and also respond to the band that's on stage with me. It's not whoever else. It's these 5 or 6 or 7 people.
Yeah.
And so I want to be a part of that ensemble and serve that group as best I can.
Yeah. Earlier today, we were recording some Sting song breakdowns.
Yeah.
And hearing you play stuff like 7 Days or I Hung My Head.
Yeah.
You can hear the respect of the original recording.
Yeah.
But you can also hear the fills are different, and they sound like you. They don't sound like a carbon copy of Vinny or Stewart.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. And I mean, the highest respect, and like what an accomplishment to be part of that lineage.
Totally.
You know, so
Totally. Yeah, man.
Clearly, there's a reason why you're on that gig, and I mean, I saw it earlier today, and
Thank
we're
you.
gonna play some of that stuff coming
Yeah.
up too.
Thank you.
What would you say, since being on the gig for a year or two?
Yeah.
Like, what are some of the biggest lessons that you've learned from being in that band?
Well, one thing is that I've gotten much more comfortable with odd time signatures. Because, you know, sometimes in soundcheck, Dominic Miller, who's played guitar with Sting for 30 years now,
Yeah.
he's like the Sting encyclopedia, you know? He remembers all the songs. So sometimes in soundcheck, he'll just start playing something. Sometimes I'm vaguely familiar with it. Sometimes I know it really well.
Yeah.
There's been a few songs where I'm like, I've never heard this in my life.
Some crazy
And
B-side.
some B-side, yeah, and it's in 7.
Yeah.
And so I just have to kind of come up with something, and then when I get home that night, I'll listen to the recording and see how close I was, like we also did earlier today.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've learned, yeah, certainly to think on my feet and to be in the moment and be responsive to what's happening on stage. It's very good for just retention of notes and stuff. I mean, Sting likes to change little stuff from night to night, just to keep it interesting, just to be a little better than yesterday.
Yeah.
You know, and so being able to remember that stuff is big. And I would also say we do a lot of the show on the click,
Okay.
and figuring out like how to be solid with the click, but also be a member of the band and not be so rigid that you're holding people back. That's been interesting to figure out. I feel like I'm in a good place with it, but
Yeah.
you know, I feel like the click is always, we're all learning things all the time about
Yeah.
that. But that's been very cool too.
Yeah. I know that's something like we hear all the time. I kind of feel this way with playing with tracks, and I don't know if you guys are using backing tracks, but it's easy to get lost in the pre-recorded music and forget about what's happening in real time around you.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's a great takeaway, to be in the moment and be aware of what's happening night to night.
Yeah, well, and it also changes from song to song, because some tunes there are a few backing tracks, and so I want to make sure I'm really on the grid.
Yeah.
When, like Desert Rose that we're gonna play in a little bit, like that one has some percussion and a sequencer and all this stuff, and I want to really lock in with that. Some of the other songs, it's just the click, the band hears it, no one in the audience hears anything else. So if the chorus wants to lean a little bit forward or whatever, it's like, we're playing music.
Yeah, it's
you
fine.
know, it's cool. It's a live show. It's the energy is a part of the gig.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's been a good lesson, and those are the kind of things I focus on now. You know.
Would you say, since being on the gig, have you made any like big mistakes, or any anything you did once that you never did again, or anything like that?
Nothing crazy. Not that I can think of. I mean, I had one. There was one night I remember, Message in a Bottle. We opened with Message in a Bottle. I was in the middle of playing a fill and I just blacked out. Has that ever happened to you?
Oh yeah.
And you're about to play the downbeat and you're like, I don't actually know where the downbeat is anymore. And I just had this, it felt like when you're driving and you start to fall asleep a little bit and you wake up, it was that kind of feeling.
I'm playing Message in a Bottle.
I was like, what beat is this? No! And then I recovered, I did okay. And then I saw a video later and it didn't sound as bad as it felt. But in that moment, it was like, oh no.
Yeah. I just
I'm
ruined
dead.
the show.
Yeah, on the first song.
Jeez. Oh man. I'm sure that only happened once.
Oh yeah. No major incidents so far.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah.
We'll have you back in a year and then we'll ask the same question.
Yeah.
You mentioned Desert Rose. That's the next song we're gonna do.
Yeah, great.
You mentioned there's some sequencers, some percussion in this as well. That's sampled or.
Yeah,
overdubbed?
it's a. I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly. Darbuka.
Yeah.
On the record, and so I think we use the stem from the recording live.
Nice.
And yeah, there's like a high synth arpeggio in there too.
Cool.
And those kind of go through the whole tune, so you want to be locked in with that stuff, or it sounds kind of whack.
Nice. Well, speaking of that, this is a Desert Rose.
Let's see how I do.
Yeah.
I dream of rain I dream of gardens in the desert. I'm waking vain I dream of love as time runs through my head. I dream of fire These dreams are tied to a horse that will never die. In the flames Shadow
Man, there's just like the bridge section in that where the feel changes. You're going 2 and 4 on the ride.
Yeah.
I just love that about Sting's music. Like you never know what's coming next.
Yeah.
There's all these influences.
I love that little arrangement thing too. That's a live thing that we do.
I have to address the comment in the YouTube chat.
Okay.
People are just not, they won't stop talking about the drumstick.
Oh.
You're using it backwards,
Yeah.
but also the sticks you're using have, I mean, the tips are pretty unique.
Let's talk.
Yeah, let's just address it right now.
I'll start with the sticks. So this is my friend Carter McLean, ProMarks. I don't know is that a good camera? There we go.
Yeah, that's
hey.
great. Boom.
ProMark, Carter McLean signature stick. He's a buddy of mine in New York, plays drums on The Lion King on
Yes.
Broadway and many other things. Friend of Drumeo, I think.
Yeah. He's
And
great.
I love this tip that he came up with because you can sort of, it's really articulate on cymbals if you want it to be. And if you just angle it a little bit up, you can get a bit of a darker tone. So I really dig that. Also a really nice weight. It's kind of like 5B-ish, which I dig for this gig, especially playing
Yeah.
bigger rooms, and I'm hitting pretty hard and I want to be able to stay loose.
Yeah.
The backward stick is, I studied with Bernard Purdy when I was like 14 or 15.
Oh, wow.
And I was very, very lucky I got to take a few lessons with him, and that's a Purdy thing. He just, I think, feels that if you're right-handed, your left hand's a little weaker, so why not help it out? But I just like the sound of it. It's a bit of a rounder tone as opposed to, I like that too. Sometimes I do that. There's a few songs in the Sting set where I'll flip it this way, but I love that kind of round backbeat, and you're always right there for the cross stick stuff. My other favorite Purdy-ism is doing these little ghost notes with your fingers.
Harder than it looks.
Harder than it looks, but worth getting a handle on, because it's really. It just adds so much, you know.
Yeah. We should have
So
you back
nice.
just to do a whole course on that.
I would
It's
love
hard.
to.
Like it's a whole other level of independence.
Yeah.
To be able to move even your fourth finger, your third finger.
And he has much sort of meatier fingers than I do too,
Yeah.
so that,
A bit
that
louder.
helps. He gets a nice, and he wears these big rings.
Yeah.
You know, he's got some extra heft.
Yeah.
But it's definitely worth checking out. I love that.
Yeah. I think the first drummer I saw normally using the butt end of the stick was Elvin.
Sure.
And I think that's probably because the tops were chipped off or broken.
Right, yeah.
So you flip it around, but you have a good point, like switching back to the cross stick so easily makes a
Easy.
huge difference.
And sometimes I'll do the butt end on the right stick too if I want that sound on the cymbal. That can be cool. It's mostly wherever your ears want to go, but yeah, you know, we're playing in big rooms. I'm just trying to get a big,
Yeah.
fat 2 and 4, you know, so
Yeah.
it's good for that.
Whatever does the job.
Exactly.
That's great. I want to answer a few questions that have come in, and we have 2 more songs we're going to do in the video or in this lesson. So one of them is from Drumeo, asking, was Zach a singer or a drummer first? I find it difficult to do both at the same time, as I've been singing for a long time.
Okay. I guess I was a singer first, probably, in that I sang when I was a kid.
Yeah.
I started playing drums when I was 9. I didn't really start taking singing seriously until, like, I don't know, maybe when I started writing songs, I was maybe 19, 20. But I've always sang, even if I'm not on the mic, when I'm playing, I'm singing along to whatever's happening. And I think that's, even if you're not gonna sing, I think it's a good practice to get into, just singing along to the songs while you're playing them. A lot of my favorite drummers, you see them doing that, and it just gets you inside the tunes a little bit more.
Even just tempo and timing-wise to know
Totally.
the phrasing of the vocal and where it sits. That's a great point.
Well, and it helps you understand why a singer would be upset if you were counting something off 10 clicks faster.
Exactly.
Because it's really hard. And,
Yeah.
and if you have a little bit more knowledge of that, I think it's very helpful.
Yeah.
But yeah, I guess that they've been kind of concurrent for me. But
Yeah.
I would say if you want to get better at it, just start singing while you play drums all the time. Even if you're not singing into a microphone.
Yeah.
Just get in the habit of it.
Love it. You answered this already. How long you've been playing drums? You said
Yep.
age 9?
9, so I'm 36, so what is that, 27 years?
Yeah, ish.
Yeah.
Nice. And
you go.
their follow-up was, when you're not on tour, what are you still working on?
Oh, wow. Like, what am I shedding?
Yeah. Even just like lately.
Honestly, when I'm not on tour these days, I'm working on relaxing and not thinking about music 24/7.
That's a great point.
And it's also a luxury because I've spent, you know, I'm a freelance drummer. I have been for a long time, and so this has been my whole life, 24/7 for so long.
Yeah.
So it's luxurious to have a job where, when I'm not on the road, I don't feel like I have to go home and start hustling immediately. But
Yeah.
when I am working on music, I'm thinking honestly more about production and songwriting and stuff like that these days. Sometimes I'll have little things I want to work on, but for me it's a lot of my best practice happens on the gig, and it's just about being present in the music, present in my body, holding myself well, playing in time, making the songs feel good, you know. That's really what I'm going for.
Yeah.
And getting a great sound out of the drums, which also playing in different rooms, you know, you start to learn different things. Playing in bigger rooms, you need to play a certain way.
Yeah.
You know, I think playing a little more simply is good, and yeah, so all that stuff is on my mind.
Nice. Before we play the next song, just
Yeah.
coming back to the main question of all the things you did to get this gig with Sting.
Yeah.
For anyone out there, younger or older, maybe not playing with Sting, but who wants to get to this level of playing.
Yeah.
Obviously, there's so many factors. There's being prepared for whatever opportunities come up. But what are some things that helped you that you would pass on to someone who wanted to do the same thing?
Well, first of all, you know, I'm so fortunate to have this gig and be able to play music I love at this level with a great band and really good people. You know, that stuff is amazing. But I also know that this is one job in a series of a life of making music.
Yeah.
And it won't always be this. And I'm lucky, and I'm trying to enjoy it and soak it up as much as I can while I'm here. But I think you have to approach every gig like the way you think you would approach this gig if you got called. Treat all your gigs like that.
Yeah.
And then you're much more likely to get called for this kind of thing, because that really is how I think about, you know, playing little singer-songwriter rooms in New York for 5 people. I want to kill it, you know, and I want the rest of the band to enjoy what I provide and to feel supported, and yeah, and you know, then the obvious things like show up on time and be cool and prepare the music and listen, you know, take notes well.
Yeah.
That kind of stuff. But I just think a lot of it is you never know who is going to be the person who connects you to this kind of thing, or the thing that connects you to this thing, or whatever.
Yeah.
So if you treat all of your work, all of your gigs like you would treat the dream gig that you have in your head, I think, yeah, then you get a reputation for somebody who brings it when they get called. And that's how I want people to think about me. You know, if you call them, you're good. It's going to be good.
Yeah. Love it, man.
Yeah.
That's great. Let's jump to the next song.
Cool.
Shape of My Heart.
Yeah. I love this one.
Anything we should know?
It's a great song.
It's a great song.
This riff that Dominic wrote has been sampled a billion times. You know, we sing in the live show. We do a little bit of Lucid Dreams, which was like the last big hit, I think, that sampled this tune.
Okay.
Gene Noble, who sings on the gig, sings a verse of that tune. So I think it's cool how this little musical passage that Dominic wrote has transcended genre and decades, and you know,
I think
so cool.
I think I just watched. He was just on Rick Beato, right?
Yes.
I think I watched the little clip of him explaining that riff, and there's one chord. I'm not a guitar player at all.
Yep.
There's one chord that I guess he recorded on the record, and then adapted it for live because it was too hard to play.
Yeah.
And then he got a bunch of heat for
Well,
playing it differently or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
kinda
That was funny. So now he's back to playing it
The right way.
the right way, just in case some YouTubers are on his
Like
case.
I wrote the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Let me do what I want.
Give me a break.
Awesome.
But yeah, this is one of those. I love playing this song every night, and it's just nice to sit in this groove and listen to my compatriots.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah,
All right,
man.
here it is.
All right.
He deals the cards as a meditation, and those he plays never suspect. He doesn't play for the money he wins. He doesn't play for respect. He deals the cards to find the answer, the sacred geometry of chance, the hidden law of a probable outcome. The numbers lead a dance. I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I know that diamonds need money for this art, but that's not the shape of my heart. He may play the jack of diamonds, he may lay the queen of spades, he may conceal a king in his hand while the memory of it fades. I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I know that diamonds need money for this art, but that's not the shape of my heart. That's not the shape of my heart. And if I told her that I loved you, you maybe think there's something wrong. I'm not a man with too many faces. The mask I wear is one. For those who speak know nothing and find out to their cost, like those who curse their luck in too many places, and those who fear are lost. I know that the spades are the swords of a soldier. I know that the clubs are weapons of war. I know that diamonds need money for this art, but that's not the shape of my heart. That's not the shape of my heart. That's not the shape of my heart.
That is the perfect drum part.
Isn't it great?
I just wrote that in the Drumeo chat. Like the splash cymbals
The splash.
in those verses is just
That's
perfect.
it. That's it.
Like if you would throw, I'm sure if you would play like a tom fill in there, it would just ruin the entire vibe.
It's no good. I tried,
Oh, did you?
and it's no good. Yeah, at one point live, I tried a little fill, like going into that bridge section.
Yeah.
It's like, why?
Yeah. Even just omitting the 1 or 2 cross sticks at the
Yeah.
end of that verse
Yeah.
is just like, it dips enough that when you bring it back, it's like, it
Yep.
just settles again.
Yep.
It's crazy.
Yeah. We were saying earlier, you know, I had a splash cymbal years ago, and I actually gave it to my friend Jack because I was like, I'm never going to use this again.
Yeah. Little did you know.
And then I got called for this, and I had to get a splash. Come on.
Yeah.
It just wouldn't be right. It's so
can't play this
essential.
stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Imagine playing like 7 days without the splash.
No way.
Just doesn't
No way.
happen.
Don't do it, folks. Don't try that at home.
Because the next gig might be yours.
That's right.
Also, there's another Zach Jones in the YouTube chat.
Really?
Yeah.
Hello.
They said, thank you for spelling your name right.
Oh, wow.
So shout out to Zach Jones out in the YouTube
you can
chat.
thank my parents for that one.
I'm sure there's no other Zach Jones
Yeah.
out there.
Yeah.
Oh, I love it. Man, the hour is pretty much up.
Really?
Which is crazy.
Wow.
This has been great.
Yeah, really great. Thanks for having me, man.
Of course, man. Do you have any final thoughts to leave with? We got lots of drummers watching right now, and I'm sure there's going to be lots more who watch this.
That's very nice.
Once it's posted, so.
Well, thanks for watching. I don't know where I'm looking. Thanks for watching. I hope that this can be edifying, informative for people, entertaining. You know, I feel really privileged to have this job and get to play this great music and be a steward for this music, you know, for this period of time that I'm a part of the band. And I want to treat it well and make it sound good.
Yeah.
And so I hope that if you come check out a show that you'll feel that that's what's happening. And I also want to say that you should watch Brandon's Stuart Copeland videos.
Oh, Zach.
Because we didn't do any Police stuff today. We did some breakdowns of some solo Sting songs, which were a blast. But the Police stuff is covered. So
Well,
do check those out.
we got to
really.
get Stuart Copeland in here soon, too.
Yeah.
Stuart, if you're watching.
Dude, also invite me back if he comes, because I
Yes.
just want to hang out.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we'll just get both of you. I'm
Yeah.
sure that would be
He's so
comedic
great.
as ever.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love it. And we're going to close with one more track from one of your own bands. This is
Yeah.
The Kids in the Back.
This is called The Kids in the Back. This is my friends Greg Mayo and Martin Rivas and I wrote this song together and recorded it, produced it together. And I thought this would be a fun one to close with. It's just about being whether you're a musician or a music lover, or if you're the person who waits in line to buy tickets for a show or digs through the crates or whatever it is. Thanks for being a part of the music community, because that's what this is really all about for
Yeah.
me, is community and getting to share this with people. It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
Also, there is a little Police reference in this song. See if you can catch it.
Love it. Later, everyone.
Fill the van with the tools of redemption. I hope it starts. I hope it doesn't fall apart on the way to the show. We really ought to go. All the tables have been pushed away, and it's time to play. It's time to blow some ears away. There's a girl in the corner. Hope she decides to stay. Who's that band? What's their sound? Where they come from? Tell me everything. I saw them in that magazine. Are the stories all true? He said, here's what you gotta do. Get yourself to the vital decision. The pretty clerk, she may come off just like a jerk. Say you're into new order. There's an import back in the room, in the back, find the pressing with the bonus track. Count